So thank you very much and welcome to my party. There's going to be plenty of food and plenty of drink, and if you don't have fun, well, it's your own fault. So it's been 20 years I've been with Microsoft, and a lot of people ask me, how did you get your start at Microsoft? How did you end up there? And I thought, you have to go back a little further than 20 years ago to figure out, how I ended up there. Those of you who know me know that I was born a poor little black child in the projects of South Philadelphia, and had to make my way in the world. My brother Dennis and I used to sell tomatoes door to door to try to make some money. But it wasn't really fun growing up in the projects. But you didn't really know that it wasn't fun. I mean, all you needed was a stick and a ball you stole from the kids across the street to have some fun and get out there and play. But I knew that I wanted to someday have more than that. And over the years, I tried many things, and tried a number of entrepreneurial things when we were together in Florida. And learned a lot about computers. Taught myself. As computers were first coming out, me and my friend Mark Johnson went to Heathkit and bought kits and tried to put them together and taught ourselves about computers. And after my unfortunate corporate and personal bankruptcy, we decided that we should probably pack up a truck in the middle of the night like the Baltimore Colts and head to California, where nobody knew us other than Susie's parents, and they liked Susie, so I figured, what the hell, let's go there, and I'll get a job in the software industry because I know that stuff. And so I went there and started to apply for a number of jobs, and nobody would hire me because, I didn't have any formal training, I didn't have any formal experience, I didn't have a college degree, they just wouldn't touch me. And, here I have Susie is, pregnant with Nicholas, don't have a job, and, have to put food on the table. And so I used to manage fast food restaurants, and so I figured I'd take a job at a Wendy's, working there as a manager trainee. And at least that way there'd be food, because you could bring home the burgers you didn't sell at the end of the day. And like most good managers, I always had far too many burgers left on the grill at the end of the day, so I could take those home. Well, by that time I had also had many back operations, 3, and in fact, as you can see, my back's bothering me a little tonight, so I apologize for the people I've greeted from a seated position, but as the guy retiring, I don't see why I should have to stand up anyway. So I took this job at Wendy's, and frankly, my back was killing me all the time. I mean, it was very, very painful. I'd go to work, I'd work my shift, and I'd go home and I'd lay down. I mean, that's all I could do because of how bad my back was bothering me. I mean, that was back at a time when, I had visited many doctors for my back, and 7 of them told me that you're 100% disabled, you're never going to work another day of your life, why don't you just, apply for Social Security and be done with it? And I thought, nah, not doing that. I spent my time in the projects, not going to spend my time there again. I'll find a way to keep working. And so I decided, I'm going to quit this job. This is not what I came to California for. I didn't come to California to work at a Wendy's. I'm going to quit. So I went home one day, and there was Susie, 5 months pregnant with Nicholas, and her parents were sitting there over for dinner, which they brought. Thank you very much for that. It was always good to get meat once a week. And I said, I quit. And they kind of looked at me. They were always very supportive, but you can tell that in the back of their minds they were saying, crap, I knew it. I said, don't worry, I will find something. And Susie said, how are you going to find something? I said, I have no idea, but I'll find something. So that Sunday, we got the Sunday paper, and there was an ad in the paper for device testers. And I said, device testers? That doesn't sound like it's hard. I think it has something to do with testing devices. So I called the number in the ad and said, hi, I'm interested in your job, device testing. And they said, oh, great. have you tested devices before? And I said, I test devices all the time. Right? It's something I do. I enjoy doing it at work. I also do it as a hobby. You know, it's always been one of my passions to test devices. And they said, oh, that's great. That's fabulous. You know, we were hoping to find somebody with experience. What kind of devices did you test? And I said, oh, well, you and I both know there are so many different devices that one could possibly test. Rather than me go through that whole long list and keep you on the phone, why don't you tell me what devices you're looking to have tested? And they said, well, printers, plotters, and cameras. And I said, well, no. Printers, plotters, did you say printers, plotters, and cameras? And she said, yes, why? And I go, this is unbelievable. The last job I just had was testing printers, plotters, and cameras. And she said, really? We were hoping to find somebody with experience testing printers, plotters, or cameras. Are you saying you've tested all three? And I said, yes, I tested all three. And she said, oh, this is fabulous. You know, our client was really hoping to get somebody pretty quickly. Why don't you send me your resume, and then we'll set something up with the client? And I said, well, you know, I could do that. But it really sounds like these people need somebody right away. How about I go there and bring my resume to them? And then she said, oh, that'll work. That'd be great. I said, well, who is it? And she said, well, it's Ashton Tate. Well, you know, Johnson and I use D-Base a lot. We knew who Ashton Tate was. It was only a couple of miles from my house in San Jose, California, which would be an amazing commute in San Jose. And I said, okay, I will go there first thing Monday morning. So I show up there first thing at Monday morning, and John Nicole was working there then. Who was the guy? Keith? Was that his name? The guy who ran the development? Yeah. So I walk in there, and this guy Keith comes out and says, oh, you're the guy with all the experience testing printers, plotters, and cameras. I said, yes, I am. And he says, do you have your resume? And I went, oh, they asked me to send my resume to them. You haven't gotten it yet? And he said, no, but just, you know, you're hired. Let me take you to the room. So I walk into this room, and there's a bunch of tables and a bunch of chairs, and at each table there's a computer and what I believe was a printer, plotter, or a camera by each of these computers. And they said, there you go, see ya. And he left the room, and I thought, shit, what are you supposed to do in here? Well, luckily it was lunchtime, so I figured the best thing to do would be go home to lunch. So I went home to lunch. And Susie was there, and she said, so how'd it go? I said, I have no idea what the hell they want me to do. I think I bit off more than I could chew. And she said, what are you going to do? I said, I don't, that all rhymed. Wasn't that cool? That wasn't deliberate. And I said, I'm going to go back there and bullshit my way through it. I mean, what else can I do? So I went back, and you know, and I was looking around, and then a friend of mine, Chris Burrows, who worked there at the time, came into the room. And he worked for product support and services. And I said, hey, how you doing? I'm George. He said, I'm Chris. I said, what are you doing? And he says, oh, in PSS, we can come in here and earn some extra money testing printers, plotters, and cameras. Oh, great. What the hell does that mean? And he said, well, we're working on a presentation graphics product called Applause. You create a slide, then you send it to the device, whether it be a printer, plotter, or a camera, and then you look at it and compare it to the computer, and WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get. If it's not the same, you write down a bug. And I thought, hey, this is going to be pretty easy. I think I can actually do this. But it was also the most boring job I ever had in my entire life. And I thought, I have to find a way to make this fun. So I removed all the chairs from the room except one. And I would put the chair in front of the first computer and the first printer, and I would get a job going to that printer, and I'd slide the chair to the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and I would serpentine around the tables. And then by the time I got to the end, the first one would be done printing. I'd go back to that one, and I'd enter any bugs I saw, and I'd start making it into a game. You know, how many printers could I get through today? How many bugs could I find today? And after a couple of months of that, they said, are you interested in a permanent job? You know, you're really cranking through this stuff. And I said, sure, hell yeah, I'm interested in a permanent job. Because I was there as a contractor working for a company called the Avery Group, who was the one who placed me there. And so I said, yeah, definitely I'll take a permanent job, of course. And they said, great. You know, we never got your resume. And I went, oh, I wonder whatever happened with that. He said, well, you know, the job is yours, but we really need the resume for our file. And I said, okay. So the next day I bring in my resume and I hand it to him. All right, he wasn't there. It was Bob Turner was the boss. I put it on his desk. I went back to testing my printers, plotters, and cameras. And he comes down with the resume in his hand and he says, you gave me the wrong resume. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, this is a resume of a fast food restaurant manager. Wendy's, Arby's, Burger Chef. I don't know what a Burger Chef is, but apparently you managed one. And I said, yeah. And he goes, where's all the printers, plotters, and cameras experience? I said, never tested a printer, plotter, and camera in my life before I showed up here. And he said, what? Are you telling me that you lied to us? And I said, oh, yeah. And he goes, I can't believe that. I said, let me ask you a question. Had you seen that resume, would you have hired this guy? He said, of course not. I said, okay, now that I'm here, do you still want to hire me? And he said, yes. And I said, so then what's the problem? He said, are you telling me you believe the ends justifies the means? And I said, yes! Yes, the ends justifies the means. You're giving me a job. I'm not working at Wendy's anymore. It's worked out really well for me. And he said, well, I'd appreciate it if you promised never to lie to me again. And I said, oh, no problem. So, you know, I worked there for a few months, and he said, you know, we were going to start our Windows product, and he said, I need you to hire some people from the Avery Group. I'd like you to be the manager. You know, because you got all the fast food restaurant management experience, and maybe you can manage people testing printers, plotters, and cameras. And I said, sure, I'd be happy to do that. And so I called the Avery Group, and I said, hey, I need to hire some people. And let me tell you something. Don't be sending me anybody here whose resume you haven't seen, because I know you have a bad habit of doing that kind of crap.